I promise you, out of the thousands of people, like thousands and thousands of people that I've helped over the years, nobody gets better until they start getting active. They just don't. We just go in circles with supplements and hormones and peptides and all that jazz. And I'm telling you, hormones, and you've heard me say this before, hormones and peptides are really reserved for those who are metabolically optimized. They work so much better in people who are metabolically optimized and healthy. Now, they can give you a leg up to get started when you're, at the bottom of the barrel, health-wise, but they really can be an expensive, difficult way to climb up. They're a great starter. Think of them as an enzyme to ignite that enzymatic reaction. It's your job to then get moving. So we can't just keep applying peptides, GLP-1s, BPC-157, TB-500, all the peptides, right? It's a moot point to throw those peptides at somebody if they're not going to actually put in the work. So you got to get your ass to the gym. This is where potentially deciding where to spend your dollars goes. Something I would tell many patients who walked in the door is, why don't you go hire a strength and conditioning coach instead of paying me? Stick with them for 90 days and then decide if you want to come back and see me. And I said this constantly to people, especially if they were coming in with some kind of musculoskeletal complaint that was due to them literally having no muscle. If they had a bad shoulder and they had literally no muscle on their shoulder, I'm like, go put some boulders on your shoulders. Go build some muscle mass. 99% of the time, your pain will decrease significantly or disappear. Because when you're just hanging off ligaments, as many Americans are, especially women, when you're just hanging off ligaments, you're just slowly melting, right? You don't have any muscle mass to hold you together. So you're going to be in pain. That's a sucky place to be. Ligaments hurt. Ligaments and tendons, where they meet bone is the enthesis. It's highly innervated. If you're hanging off those, it's going to hurt. So consider allocating those dollars to a strength and conditioning coach first and foremost before allocating them to your functional medicine doctor. Because then when you do finally get to the functional medicine doctor, if you even need them, you're going to be in way better shape to receive the treatment they're going to want to apply. And it's going to be a much more expedited, easy, simplistic, straightforward process than it would have been if you come in with no muscle mass, completely out of shape. So that's step one, in my opinion. Number two, if you're eating like garbage, why would you spend money on a doctor? Like, I just don't even understand that at all. Like, do you want them to tell you you're eating like garbage and then help you figure out how to not eat like garbage? And some people in my profession will call me elitist for talking like this, but there has never been more information on the internet. And people say, well, I'm confused. Rightfully so, because we've got influencers left and right convincing you that you just need to eat one food group for the rest of your life. How about we just use common sense, eat like our grandparents did, eat whole foods that came from the planet, that came from God, that came like they look off the farm. Stop eating garbage out of packages. Stop eating garbage with more than 5 ingredients. Stop eating garbage with a bunch of added salt and sugar. The food labels are not that hard to read. They're huge. They're big. I can read them without my glasses in most cases. Start eating real food. Start eating real food. I'm not even going to tell you to take foods away or which foods to eat. Like, just start eating real food and see how you feel. Start cooking at home, start eating real food and see how you feel. I guarantee you'll start to feel better. And when you start to eat better, your instincts turn on and you know what's best to do next. But it baffles my mind how many people pay copious amounts of money to a functional medicine doctor to have that doctor or that health coach turn around and tell them to eat better. You want a food plan? You can do that with AI. You want to figure out how many macros to eat? You can do that with AI. Like, all of this is available to you. And I know those of you who have food addictions know exactly what your food addictions are, and you know that you're overdoing it on them, right? That's for you to sort out. Now, we have tools out there. We have tools like GLP-1s that can help with that food noise. We have, you can go through counseling or therapy if you think you need to. If you have a true food addiction, it's real. I get it. I'm not discounting it. But we have to just admit that what we're putting in our mouth is a choice in most cases. And I'm so tired of the argument of, oh, the food deserts and, oh, socioeconomics. Yes, I understand that impacts us, but I have dove deep into the research, and it is a very small percentage of people who are directly eating the only junk food because that's truly all they have access to. It is a very small percentage of people. And I know that is a problem that needs to be addressed. And hopefully our government can do something about that. But instead of waiting around for the government while your health continues to fail, if you're one of the mostly, I would say around 85% of Americans who can afford to actually prepare your food at home and eat whole foods, then I highly suggest you try that first. And RFK just got today appointed. Let's see what happens, right? Like, we do have a food problem, but the food industry isn't going to get turned off tomorrow. There are billions of marketing dollars convincing you to eat garbage. So you choose what you put in your mouth at the end of the day, unless you're a child. And if you're choosing to put garbage in your children's mouth, well, then we have a bigger problem. And I will leave that up to you to sort out, because that is a family problem. Most time, childhood obesity is indeed a family problem. We have the data on that. Okay, so movement, which I know you guys don't all know how to strength train. And so that might be difficult. There are videos online. There are ways to access one-on-one or even group settings in the gym. If you're older, you might qualify for silver sneakers. You might even qualify through your health insurance or your Medicare or Medicaid for silver sneakers, and you actually can work out for free in many cases, or get a free gym membership where they have silver sneaker programs that you can join, and you can go at the allocated times of the week with other, I hate the word geriatric, but the older folks, the silver foxes, the silver sneakers, and you can go get strong. If you there's Beachbody. I've seen women and men turn their entire physiques around with Beachbody. I'm not affiliated with them. I just know that that's one avenue that I've seen motivate people. There's so much free content out there. And so find something that works for you. I have programs. You just have to get moving, and you have to commit to the process. That's really the first and hardest step, right? If you have the means, hire somebody one-on-one. It's really money well spent. It's the best health insurance is your muscle mass, period, in my opinion. And then second, we have our food choices. Okay. Now moving on, are you going to bed on time? Or are you acting like a teenager and staying up till 2 a.m? I have vampire syndrome. That's what I call it. After 10 o'clock, if I haven't gotten into bed by 10 o'clock, all of a sudden I'm awake. The universe is downloading great ideas into my head. I want to go into work mode and turn on my computer, and I want to create brilliance. And it's vampire mode. Some of you want to make music. Some of you want to do art. I get it. Usually we just doom scroll on our phone. It's a terrible habit, and it's up to us to break it. That's your dopamine junkie addiction that you have to break. That's on you too. All of this is on you as the individual. It's on me. My husband can't make me do it. My mom couldn't make me do it. My daughter, I can't make her do anything, right? So I can't make my husband do anything. He does what he wants to do with the information that he has. And I know that we all have plenty of information, especially if you've been listening to me for any amount of time. We live in a society that is obsessed with consuming information. And I would gander that 90% of the people who listen to me probably just consume the information and probably don't directly act on it. I know that seems terrible, but I'm basing that on my clinical practice of people who actually paid me money and still only about 10% did the work necessary. Everyone else made excuses. I do it too. I don't always do the work that my doctor asks of me. I get it. I'm not pointing the finger. This is how we are as humans. Humans are lazy apes at the end of the day. So this is where we're at. Like, okay, so let's go back a bit to the food. Could we argue that, there's chemicals in our food? Just stop eating food with chemicals in them. Just stop buying packaged foods. Like, why? I do not know why everybody's arguing over Fruit Loops, because who gives an F when nobody should be eating Fruit Loops at all? So why? Why is that? Why is time and money going into that is baffling to me. Just choose not to eat Fruit Loops. Choose not to eat highly processed foods. Eat whole foods. Okay. So the onus of control is within you, and that's up to you. Now, if you need help with that, again, this is where finding a practitioner to maybe bring on some kind of personalized dosing of GLP-1, to have some appetite control. Your appetite's going to go haywire when you hit menopause because of the lack of estrogen that's happening. So whatever that part is, get that part sorted out. But again, that's on you to take control of, and that doesn't have to be terribly expensive. So then we have some other pieces here. Talked about sleep a bit. If you can't get to sleep or you can't stay asleep, then talk to somebody, because that goes back to your hormones. That goes back to adrenals. It goes back to estrogen and progesterone. And this is where that piece of the puzzle is really helpful. But again, I'm telling you, if you walk into that doctor's office and you are in decent shape and you're active, even if you're not in decent shape, but you're very active and you go to the gym several days a week, or you're moving several days a week. I had lots of folks that were farmers that never saw the inside of a gym, but much like my husband, they're outside constantly, no matter what the weather, and they're working. And they're strong. They're doing physical labor on a farm or physical labor in their job, and they're strong. And so applying therapeutics to them was so easy, even if they had metabolic dysfunction. It was usually slight, and it was so easy to manage and get back into shape because, we just whip it right in with some very simple protocols. But if somebody comes in and they have never exercised and they have no level of physical fitness and they are eating garbage and they're staying up all night, that's a very challenging patient to treat. And truly, I feel like it's complete money wasted when they could have just prepared to come in and then we could get to work. So do your functional medicine doctor a favor and come in prepared.